Morning guys, I'm Dave Canterbury with the Pathfinder School. I've been promising you guys that we would build an Inkle loom, and I've got the material sitting here to do that with. So I thought I'd get out a few power tools to make this a quick job and show you very quickly how to build an Inkle loom. Okay, so to start with on this loom, I've got one piece that is 30 inches long. I have two pieces that are 15 inches long, and then I've got a piece of scrap right here. This is what we're going to use to build our loom. These will be our uprights. This will be our adjustment back and forth. Very, very simple process to put this together. We're going to put this together with wood screws and glue. All right, so I'm going to take my 30-inch board here, and I'm going to lay one of my 15-inch pieces on here, and I'm just going to put it at a little bit of an angle here, outward, just like this. That's where I want to put that board. I'm actually going to put the knotted side down and the other side in the air, and that's just personal preference. I'm just going to spread a little bit of glue on this thing real fast. Put it where I want it, just like this. And shove a couple of wood screws down inside there with the drill. Okay, now I'm going to step back here 12 inches from this side and put another one in there at about the same angle in the opposite direction. I'm really just eyeballing these angles. You'll get pretty close that way. And I'm just going to scribe a line here so I remember where that was. Put some glue on the bottom of this dude. Just like that. Now we have the bottom of our loom is complete. Okay, we have a third 15-inch piece here, and then we have our cut-off scrap. This was the last end cut off of our 8-foot piece. We're going to take this third 15-inch piece and we're going to put it here for the base of our loom, and we'll screw this to here. And we'll glue that together really quick. So what I'm going to do with this piece is I'm going to take a chalk line and go about where I want it. I'm going to go all the way around the piece. I'm going to pop two lines. I'm going to pop a line here, and then I'm going to pop a line on the other side so that one side is my glue line and the other side is going to be my screw line. So I know exactly where to screw it and where to glue it at the same time. So I just pop two lines around that, just like that. Now we're just going to run a couple screws down through here. Make sure we're evened up on this end again and in the right spot, centered. Run a screw in there. Like that. One more here. So now when that dries, we'll have a solid base for our loom. And that leaves us with this other 15-inch piece, and this is going to be our adjustment back and forth to tighten tension on the loom. Now we need to concentrate on making our loom pegs. Okay, so I know I'm going to need several of these pegs cut. I need 8 of them, and I'm going to make them 6 inches long. So instead of having to measure and cut each one, I've put a stop board on this table where I can just lay this up against it, go from here, and I know that is 6 inches. So all I have to do is come here to the edge, mark a line here, move this out to the edge, and cut it off, and then mark another one so that I can make those 6-inch cuts very rapidly. And I'm kind of using the outside of this table as a guide. just like that. Okay, so now we need to talk about the placement of our pegs. And I've just taken the pegs over, ran them on a sander real quick, rounded off the front side, squared up the back side, and they'll be going on like this. We're going to put 2 here and 2 here, and then we're going to put 1 down here and 1 down here. So we're going to have 3 pegs here. And then we'll have 1 peg here, and 1 peg will be on our adjustment. So you've got to get these 3 pegs lined up in the right place. What we're going to do there is we're just going to come up from the bottom and give ourselves a couple of marks here. I want to go about 2 inches down from the top and about 2 inches up from the bottom, and then something about halfway between. So we'll say about 8 inches right there. It's going to give us what I want. And then we'll do the same thing on this side. So now we'll just take a framing square and we'll draw a line across there, somewhere around the middle, just like that. Now, as far as my center mark here, I'll be honest with you, I just eyeballed that with a framing square for the most part. And it's pretty close to the center. It doesn't have to be exact. It's not that big of a deal. And I'm just using a drill bit that's about the size of the 2.5 inch deck screws that I'm going to use to hold this in, to hold these pegs in. Now I've got to drill another hole for my heddle peg, and I want it to be above this hole just a little bit, because remember, those strings are going to pass underneath there. So I'm going to put my heddle up just a little ways from that, and I can pretty much just eyeball that to where I want it and drill that in right about at the baseline of my piece. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put every one of these pegs in a vise, and I'm going to center drill them about an inch, 1.5 inches deep. Not as long as my screws are, but enough to get them started. Okay, I'm trying to recycle as much things as I can here. So I've got some deck screws here that came from another project over the summer, and I'm going to use those to put this together. All right, so now we're just going to set this back up here, get ourselves a little bit of wood glue here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a touch of wood glue on the back side of this peg, and I'm going to put some wood glue on the screw threads themselves, just like that. And as soon as I see that start to come through the hole, I'll get this thing lined up on there and run it down tight, just like that. And I'll do that to all the other pegs. Guys, I had a little issue with my audio, and I lost the sound on about the last 2, 3, 4 minutes of this video. It looked like all the sound was there for the making of the loom. The only part that I didn't get in there was this last piece, and I just did exactly the same thing and put a peg in there about 1 inch back. and that becomes your tension adjuster. And you can make that fancy and slot this out with some type of a wing nut on there or something to hold it, or you can just clamp it in place, and that's what I do. I just clamp it with a wood clamp and then pull it back and forth where I need it from there. But it's a very simple way to create an Inkle loom. It's a very inexpensive way to create an Inkle loom. We have one 1x4, 8 feet long in this, that we cut the 30-inch piece from. We cut 3 15-inch pieces, and then we used a scrap left over for the base. We had one 4-foot, 1-inch softer wood dowel rod here, and we cut that into 6-inch pieces to make our 8 pegs that we needed total for our loom. And then we recycled some deck screws and things that we had laying around, and we used a little bit of wood glue. So we really, all said and done, probably have about a half an hour or less in time and energy in this, and probably less than $12 to make this loom. If you take care of it, it's going to last you for a long time. Don't leave it outside, of course. Keep it in the house or in a shed or in your cabin or whatever the case may be. But learning to use a loom like this will enable you to make anything from a tump line, if this loom was a little taller and had a couple more pegs so you could make a longer strap, to backpack straps, to gun slings, to straps for haversacks and bags, to trim to go around your clothing, to belts and sashes. So you can make a lot of things with this Inkle loom. And if you're wondering how to use this loom, this is the first video in the series you've seen. I did 2 other videos on the Inkle loom showing everything from how to weave on this loom, to make a strap or a belt, to how to set this loom up to begin with. So I encourage you to go watch those videos if you're curious. I thank you for joining me out here today for this video. I thank you for everything you do for our school, for our family, and for our business, for all of our sponsors, instructors, affiliates, and friends. I'll be back with another video as soon as I can. Thanks, guys.